Oh, am I live? Hey, it's Rockin' Larry Lockin'. Good Friday morning to you. Hey, well, I've been on TikTok and Instagram about 6 months now. I was resisting getting onto TikTok for a few years. I'd heard the stereotypes. It was, lame. I got the impression, basically, the impression I always had of TikTok is that it was something where people were doing such brainless shit as like I'll just give you a made up example I had in my head of somebody filming themselves getting up on a table, jumping around, going wooga wooga wooga, throwing their arms up and around in the air and barking like a dog or something, and then that would be the end of it. Or something just randomly, completely like off the top of your head, but lame, kind of like that. Well, 6 months went by, and I haven't really seen anything like that on TikTok. But then again, I always realize too, and I've told other people this that are afraid to get on there. I'm like, it's not what you think it is. It's not. There isn't any of that stuff unless you go looking for it. No, I'm sure it was. I was always sure it was still out there, right? It's just that when I get on there, it's for my own needs. The only reason I'm on there is for my own brand and to check out what immediate friends are doing. Or friends that, I follow them or they follow me, whatever, right? Check out their stuff. That's it, period. The only time I see anything different is if when I first click on there, there'll be a video on there of some kind. It's usually not, it might not be anything I agree with, but it's nothing like weird or, completely out of the norm, right? So today I wasn't disappointed, but here it ends a little bit differently than you might think. I clicked on this one and it was just some weird tie-dyed colored stuff, and then it was this guy all of a sudden jumps out from out of nowhere on a clear picture, and he's in some swimming trunks, that's it, and some kind of a weird yellow mask with horns to the side. It's just kind of something stupid, and my dog's even barking, agreeing with it in the background. But he was shaking a hose or some stupid shit, and then it went off, and I'm like, well, that sounds like what I was told about TikTok. And then somehow I got on this other one about Nutter Butters. This cookie, apparently this is some kind of rage going on here now, that the official Nutter Butter page is having these weird videos, and it was this guy talking about it, and then this girl gets on and was like, oh wow. And in fact, I'll play it here. Now listen, it's not that I ever thought these things were going to be cool, or they were going to be evil, or they were going to be great, or they were going to be bad or good. I thought it was just lame bullshit. And it is. Well, this girl's lame here, first of all. It's not that I don't disagree with her, I don't agree with her, but her weirdness, her weirded out by it has really got me, and especially if she's a Gen Z or a millennial. Every generation has a little bit better of a sense of humor, so or different. We'll see what this chick has to say. Okay, so here she is. These are the weirdest videos ever. Nah, not quite. It's not like commercial promoting videos. These videos have... Well, yeah, it's not 1970, lady. Weird names. You see feet and hands, and it has nothing to do with the actual cookie. But these videos have millions and millions of views. Yep, true. And you're telling me that there's nothing creepy going behind it? Or is it just the most here we go. Amazing marketing machine? That's what it is, lady. That's what it is, probably. It ain't some weird, creepy bullshit. This is an example of what I'm saying. This is what I mean. Oh, poor girl. I must have been that way when I was about 5. That shock that I wasn't. So you're telling me? No, I'm not telling you anything. So bottom line, my thing with this girl is, right, she's right in a way. I mean, okay, but it's not been any big conspiracy. Nutter Butter is not that popular. It is, people, but let me put it to you this way. When I was growing up, dude, kids' first choice was Chips Ahoy, Oreo cookies, even for the brands we had back then or whatever. I was a salt, kind of a chips guy, never really much into sugar or a candy bar. Nutter Butters were the last thing you'd pick. It'd be like if that's all their folks had or all you had. Oh, I love Nutter Butters. Bullshit. You would have loved Chips Ahoy better or Oreo better, and you can tell me no, but I mean, I'm talking... I was an 80s kid and 90s kid. I grew up and I know that those were like the last motherfucking thing you want. Trust me, and I'm not dissing on peanut butter. I'm just saying, trust me. And I didn't grow up around a bunch of rich kids. I mean, lower to middle class, that's it. And dude, that was the last kind of shit you'd want is Nutter Butters, and that's all you had. And were stoned and had the munchies or something. Okay, so this girl's all... Yeah, well, I can't believe it, man. It's so weird, hands and feet and shit. Well, it is different. It is different. And I thought, the only thing I've ever seen like that, it was after I got out of high school, a couple years in the late 90s. when I was working late nights. Sometimes I'd come home, there'd be nothing on, I'd get stoned or whatever, and I'd have Adult Swim on the Cartoon Network, but even that wasn't my thing, really. It was this kind of cartoony shit that showed weird shit like that late at night. You know, it was when Cartoon Network was starting to get into doing, I guess, modern shit. And then that's when Boomerang came along and did all the older commercials or cartoons. But, okay, so no big deal. And they had a couple of, like, rated R cartoons that Fritz the Cat and shit when I was really young in the early 80s that were kind of like this kind of humor. But then, you know, the girl's outraged. She's a millennial or a Gen Zer. See, I don't like the shit, but I'm old enough to know that I'm old. Man, I'm 49. These kids are more intellectual than me. These kids are more, they've got a different kind of sense of humor. I'm not that old man on the lawn. Okay, I'm not liking it because it's boring. It's boring as fuck to me. It's creative, though. It's creatively boring. But I'm old, and I get that, all right? So we can't just say, oh, it's just stupid, scary, weird shit, because, dude, an evil agenda, it's a little bit more differently put, and it's a little bit, this is at best just misguided, but it's misguided genius. At worst is what I'm saying. So, it ain't like this. So let's see what else is going on here, because it gets a little better. Okay, and this would be genius. She is right about one thing. This would be fucking genius if they were selling them like this, because you're not going to do this with Oreo or Chips Ahoy. Not yet. Not till some time down the road as we evolve. You know, and yes, I call it evolving, because we move forward and things change, all right? Some people thought getting the car from the horse and buggy was not evolving, but everything's got a meaning. Okay, yeah, wow. Okay, so this one, and then the next one, the fourth one is kind of cool, I guess. Kind of LSD, kind of boom. I could have appreciated that in school. It's tripping and creeping my dog out. Yeah. Kind of catchy, ain't it? Okay, well, let's see. There was one other I thought that's real trippy, psychedelically, like, weird. I think that was back here a ways, or where did that go? Oh, this guy here, this dude here, and this will be the... Kid's creative, I'll say that. Well, and supposedly it goes on. You guys can check this out too. But in the next, they got a whole bunch of them after this, or have a whole bunch more. And they start talking about this kid named Aiden. There's a fake character named Aiden. And so you can see where the whole thing is. If you really, even if you're not a fan of this kind of shit, you can see where the creativity comes in, okay? It's like, you know, the Beatles might not be your favorite band of all time, but statistically wise, it'd be like saying LeBron James or Michael Jordan weren't the best basketball players of all time. It's just not, it's not an opinion thing, it's a fact. You know what I mean? It's like this time this lady was trying to argue with me that Madonna wasn't the greatest female singer of the 80s or of all time. It was Paula Abdul. I'm like, not who you like. I'm talking about, let's get real. I mean, you know, Magic Johnson wasn't my favorite goddamn basketball player by any stretch, but I mean, he was still the best guy to ever pass a basketball that's ever lived. And my dog, I don't know, maybe she hasn't been barking like this in a while. Maybe I've been watching these for a couple minutes. Yeah, so, you know, you may think it's brain. I just think, to me, I think it's just brainless and boring. But the brainless and boring comes in is because I'm an old fuck, okay? You know, and I was old when I was young even. I liked older shit that wasn't popular at the time. I was always 20 years ahead of the curve or behind the curve. And, you know, it worked out both ways sometimes. You know, depending on who I was with. So, you know, I mean, but, you know, official Nutter Butter page, and either somebody's hacked their shit, and if that were the case, it would have already been taken care of, or this is their way of selling this particular brand. Like I said, they wouldn't yet do it with Oreos or Chips Ahoy. Nabisco wouldn't do it yet, or whoever owns the rights to these now. I mean, Nabisco did. See, they were always our third or fourth go-to snack, at most. I mean, you know what I mean, at the very highest it got. Oh, people would love them all right, but Wasn't like these were the end all be all, not even close. There were 3 levels above them, and the ones that were, for the most, everybody's different. There, I knew a few people who these were their absolute favorite. There were a few, not many. I mean, that's why I can remember the ones I ran into that were, now, that did have that as their go-to. But, so you can check that out. But I was just the point I'm trying to make is humor changes. People change. Things evolve. Things move on. You can call it evolving, not. But people move on. And, different generations are different. And there was signs of this kind of stuff years ago. Adult Swim, and even before that when I was real little, in the 80s. Fritz the Cat. You ever check that shit out? It's the same kind of concept. The graphics weren't as good as now, of course. But, and... yeah, but I just think all things considered, that girl was overreacting a little. She's right about the one part of the marketing thing, but as far as her being that tripped out by it, that was just clickbait. That was just her being clickbait. I can't imagine a young lady that is that stupid. She's not. That was just clickbait, that part of her saying that opinion. And the rest of it was right. She just knows how to work it better than I do, and I'm just jealous, I guess, because I'm an old shit. But yeah, that's what it is. Anyway, that's about enough of that. Peace.